fuck's sake. Can you hear sound now? I didn't have the microphone on. All right. Okay. Can you hear me now? Man, these live chat live streams are cursed. I cannot do them without seriously fucking up. It's almost kind of impressive. So I guess I could pull up the live chat here, right? No, yeah, I could just do that here. I could just pull it up here. I don't need to look at it on my phone. Oh, that is a benefit of multi monitors now. I can do that. Okay. There's the first kind of positive news for the last couple days. I just found out I can use 2 monitors. Yeah, so I just talked for several minutes and the microphone's off. So what a great start to a week, but whatever. It is what it fucking is. All right, so hopefully y'all can hear me now. Please, God, can you hear me now? Please, for the love of Christ. Yeah, so it should be working. It should be working. Everything should be working. So this is a complete bastardization of a podcast. This is Apollo 13, but there's no happy ending. There will be no me love you long time. I just talked for like 5 minutes with the microphone off. This is live chat, live stream number 3. It's something I want to be doing every Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern. This past week sucked. Yesterday, 1 hour of work ended up taking like 13 hours of work. It's whatever. So obviously I'm starting this one at 4:15 instead of 2 p.m. and it's only going to go for about 30 minutes instead of 2 hours. So sucks to suck, and that's directed at me, not y'all. But the last 2 have been pretty fun, although short. They've been fun to anyone that wants to watch and just ask a question or just say something. I don't give a shit. So that's what I'm doing. This one's only going to be about 30 minutes because I have on a big guest at 5 p.m. So that'll be cool. But no one's in the chat, so I'm just going to keep talking. So anyone that ever watches the show knows that I never shut the fuck up about anything. Saturday was the 9th anniversary of my older brother's suicide, and the week leading up to it just sucks dick every year. Long story short, I was not feeling anything last week, which is why there was not that many podcasts, next to no gaming streams, and everything kind of just sucked. But it's a new week. I have another year. And so yeah, got up, hit the gym, showered, meditated, just gonna get after it. No point in bitching. Just gonna keep working towards whatever it is I'm working towards. So yeah. Okay, yeah. Thank you, Barking Digits. So yeah, that's kind of the holy all of it. It's again, I wanted to set aside 2 hours to do these, but because of life, I only have 30 minutes to do it, so that's my fault. But I do want to start kind of establishing like that Monday, 2 p.m. Eastern. That is the 2 hour live stream. So it is what it is, but I ended up setting up a ton of shit, a ton of new lights. I got a new monitor that's behind the good camera so that when I'm using the good camera, I can look the guest in the eye. Ironically, I'm not using this camera when I'm not. It's a whole thing. But right now I'm just kind of doing proof of concept to make sure that it actually works. So I'm not. It's kind of iffy. I don't know if I should be rolling this out. I have Alan Dershowitz at 5 p.m. I'm not sure if I should be rolling out my new experimental operation for that. Now that I'm thinking about that, that's probably not a good idea. I should probably stick to what I know. I'm probably going to do that. I'm going to shut down that monitor after this podcast and just do the normal one. That's not a smart move. Now that I'm thinking that out, that's a terrible idea. to use a new experimental operation for this podcast that I've never used before, to use it on a huge guest. That's not smart. That's not intelligent. And I should not and will not do that. Well, I'm glad I've thought that out by myself. Yeah, so I am excited to do a gaming stream tonight. I know it's been a while. And the last couple have sucked or been canceled by me. It's no one else's fault. But yeah, I'm ready to get back into it and just start working again. And yeah, the last week's kind of sucked, but it is what it is. I have exactly, I guess what's on my mind is, well, no one's in the chat, so it's kind of pointless to do this right now, but I guess that's also my fault. I told everyone it was going to be at 2 p.m. and I'd show up at 4:15. That's my fault, not anybody else's. But so I guess what's on my mind is that I have exactly 1 year left of investment, of private investment in this podcast, exact to the day. April 17th, 2024 is when it runs out. So that's definitely on my mind. It's kind of what's the opposite of like auto what is it? Autocatalytic. Thomas the Train, thank you, sir. What's the opposite of autocatalytic? It's like it doesn't feed on itself. There's a negative feedback cycle of no one wants to hear me talking about how I only have a year left of investment. And so that makes bad podcasting. And bad podcasting means the show is growing slower, which makes it more prominent in my mind that I only have a year left, which makes me talk about it more. So I should probably just shut the fuck up about that. Yeah, I don't know. It's always easy to keep working when you feel inspired. It's always easy or you're angry. It's always easy when there's like a fire. That the last week and a half has just kind of felt like, it just feels like I've been like under a mile of water. It feels like trying to walk on the bottom of a pool, like mentally and physically. And normally when I feel like that, I try to psych myself up or spend a little more time meditating. And I can normally kind of break it. I can like break the line. But if I feel it going on for like a couple days or a week in a row, it then turns into sort of like just don't give up another inch. Like it doesn't matter if you're not going forward, just don't slide backwards. And I've kind of been in the don't slide backwards mode for like the last 2 weeks or so, where I'm like, all right, I'm not pushing, like World War I. I'm not pushing the trench forward. I just got to make sure I don't fall backward. So, not that anybody asked, but nobody's in the chat, so I figure I'm just gonna talk about what's on my mind. I've been thinking a lot about, so I've had on this guy, Dr. Michael Guillen, who's a really cool fucking dude. And his wife came on, Laurel Guillen, and she's an author. She came out in like December of last year, so like 4 months ago. And she wrote a book, A Bellwether Christmas. It's like a children's book about, just happy Christmas stuff. And I was kind of venting to her about how nervous I am. No, Barking Digits, you're not nobody. But there's one person in the, well, Barking Digits, start fucking asking questions then. But I was kind of venting to her about how nervous I am about the podcast not succeeding or not working on time. And she said, she's like, don't forget, like, the whole idea of like a surprise it's kind of akin to what Alan Watts said about, like a secret. A secret is, or when something's lost, it's always in the last place you look for, right? By definition, it's the last place you look for, because once you found it, you're no longer looking for it. So she was like, don't get upset if you can't imagine all the possibilities at how the show will succeed. because if you had thought of it, you would have done it. And time again, the show has never grown in the way I thought it would grow. There's never like the big episode. There's never the, I get retweeted by some fucking huge account. It's never that. It's always like a weird 9 degrees of separation. Somebody watched a video from me 3 years ago where I was talking about, how my brother had a pet turtle. And do I want to talk to their cousin whose dad is like whoever the fuck is like a general or something? And it's like, what? Yeah. Or it's like I have somebody's like, likes every tweet I make when my account has 10 followers, and I just sent him a message one night. I'm like, hey, thank you for retweeting me. Like, it doesn't go unnoticed. And they're like, yeah, like this actually happened. And he's like, yeah, man. Do you want to have my friend on? He's General Flynn's brother. I was like, what the fuck? Like, yeah, yes, I do. Or like another guy, one of my friends, like a friend at like Stoli, he was like, dude, you need to have on this guy, John Barnwell. He's kind of like a wizard. And I was like, fuck yeah. So I had him on. We talked about his work with like Rudolf Steiner, very kind of, deep philosophical, metaphysical podcast. And then, like, he called me after. He was like, hey, Tom, that was really fun. I was like, hey, John, like, I'd love to have you on again, man. That was cool. He's like, I've got a friend that you might like to interview. And I was like, yeah. And he's like, Roseanne Barr. And I was like, huh? It's like, John Barnwell is this, like, deep philosophical modern-day wizard who lives in Detroit. And, like, used to sell, like, esoteric books. And then was like, yeah, here's my friend Roseanne Barr. Shoot her a text. And I was like, oh, okay. Or like Dr. McCullough, like texting me like a week before Christmas in 2021 and being like, hey, do you want to go to Austin and meet Alex Jones? And I was like, what the fuck? And I just licked my microphone. Well, it didn't actually taste like anything. I guess that was just my reaction, was to back off. Or like I did an episode with like Dale and Ted-Eye back in like June 2020, and I would just, before I was IP banned from Reddit, I would just post the podcast I did in any relevant subreddit. So whatever the topic is, I would just find a subreddit. And I posted this video where it's like shitty. It's me on a MacBook, like it's echoing, like I don't know how to do a podcast. Like it's horrible. And I posted it on some subreddit about whatever, like home security or something, got 4 upvotes and then like a ban for spamming or whatever the fuck. And then through that is how I met the guy that invests in this podcast and literally changed my life. So like, it's always these kind of last ditch Hail Marys too. Like when I would upload it to Reddit or something, that was something I always did at the end of the day. When I was exhausted and just fat and working at a liquor store and living above my parents' garage and just wondering, like, why the fuck, like, what is life, just a cruel joke? And at the very end of the day, I would just be like, just one last throw the Hail Mary. One last pot shot, right? It's the last shot of World War I, right? That's kind of a bad example because that didn't actually affect the war. But it was just one last... Kind of like Lord of the Rings, when Gandalf falls and then the Balrog throws the whip and catches his ankle and whips him back down. That's maybe a bad example because that's like a demon working against a good guy. Whatever. Nobody's in the chat. Not you, Barking Digits. You're somebody. But whatever. There's always just like that. What is your 5 top guest wish list? I'll get to that in a second. There's always that like last effort thing. And it doesn't always work. 99% of the time it doesn't work at all. Hold on, I'm going to grab my blanket from this chair. Most of the time it doesn't work at all. But when it does work, it's responsible for like 90% of the change. So like I've spent so much time setting up this studio. I seriously might never move again. There is a chance that I'm just waiting for the podcast to explode to make enough money that if I do go move up into like the woods in New Hampshire, I'm not going to sell this place. I'm just going to keep this place simply because I don't want to move. I'll just buy everything again and put it into a new house. I'm never taking this thing down. I've put so much fucking work into this studio. But back to the Balrog. There's like this. Most of the time it doesn't work. But when it does work, it's responsible for more success and change than anything else. So like, the investor was a huge one. Parallels, which Dr. Rogers? Dr. Elizabeth Rogers? Yeah, she was supposed to come on a while ago, and she texted me and she was like, "Hey, actually, I can't do it." She's like, "I'm getting married today or something." And I haven't heard from her since, so I imagine she's on like a honeymoon or something. Point is I'll finish up this point about like the last second Hail Mary. That's how like I met the investor. That's how I ended up getting like around every Christmas break is when I would just like email companies and be like, please buy my podcast. And I'd always do it at the end of the year. I'm just fucking depressed, full of Christmas food. I'm fat. I'm hungover. And I was literally like on the toilet. I was like shitting, and I emailed like Spotify, iTunes, whatever, like all the companies. And then like one person got back to me, Siraj from Rumble. I was like, yeah, man, let's meet. And now I do live streams, and like my stuff goes to the front page, and like my monthly views have gone up 1,000%. And then I guess another thing is like when I went down to InfoWars in Austin in December 2021 with Dr. McCullough, I had gastroenteritis, norovirus, and I was miserable. And like for several days, I just like couldn't move. Literally had to take painkillers and take 2 flights down to Austin. Like walked through the rain to get to the hotel. Like didn't sleep well again. My brother picked me up and drove me to InfoWars. I got to meet Alex Jones. And then like flew home and was like sick as fuck. And then my car got stuck in the snow driving back to my apartment. I literally had to have a tow truck come pull me out. I slept for like a couple hours, and Dr. Malone had just gone on Joe Rogan, who was talking about Dr. Desmet, and I'd found Dr. Desmet and was emailing him, and he got back to me like the next morning. I'm like on a week of not a solid night of sleep. Like I've shit out my body weight several times over. I'm just exhausted, and I was like, we do the podcast and talk about mass formation psychosis, and then like got Dr. McCullough too, and like called Dr. Malone at like 10 a.m. and he picked up and was like, yeah, I'll do it. And then like those all came together and was my biggest episode I've ever done to date. So I guess I'm saying this for myself to remind myself. The most monumental changes of this podcast, finding an investor, doing that mass formation psychosis episode, and kind of teaming up with Rumble and getting them to push my stuff, have all come as these like last second Hail Marys, where it's like at the end of the day, tired, depressed, angry, just beaten down. You just throw up one more like buzzer beater 3-pointer from half court, and sometimes it goes in. So I guess I just need to remember that is like, they're not frivolous pot shots. Yeah, I'm watching the time. Thank you. They're not frivolous pot shots. This is kind of turning into a self-therapy session, so I guess y'all are just witnessing this. They're not worthless pot shots. 99% of them don't work. The ones that do work are responsible for 99% of the change. Anyway, parallels. Yes, I'm going to have Dr. Rogers back on. Actually, I'll text her right now. And then Parallels. Yes, I did get the lights from Justin. I haven't tried. I haven't from Justin Ballard. Yeah, I haven't tried it yet though. I need to. Thank you for reminding me. Barking Digits. Who are my top 5 guest list? Alex Jones. In no particular order. Alex Jones, Donald Trump, Elon Musk. Alex Jones, Donald Trump, Elon Musk. Probably Jeff Bezos. And Bob Lazar. Yeah. Yeah, that I think it'd be the. I'm a little iffy on Jeff Bezos. Not that I give a shit. I don't mean in some commie way. I guess I never really thought about that. Alex Jones, Donald Trump, Elon Musk. I've always thought I'd love to have them on. I'd love to have Bob Lazar on. I don't know. 5th, Lieutenant General James Abramson, who headed up SDI. He's like 90, still is like spry. Yeah. Lieutenant, yeah. Donald Trump, Elon Musk, Alex Jones, Bob Lazar, and Lieutenant General James Abramson. Those are five top 5 guest wish list. And I mean, dude, having on like Elon Musk or having on like Trump and Alex Jones together, I wouldn't even say anything. I would just watch them talk. It'd be like when I had on Dr. Malone and Roseanne Barr. I'm not even gonna say anything. I'm just gonna like watch them go back and forth. Yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah. Those would be my top 5. So I mean, back to the Hail Mary question. What could be a Hail Mary I throw? Whenever I throw the Hail Marys, there always is like a hint of desperation and kind of depression with it. It's just this like fuck, and it's like the match is running down, your team's down, and so you just start like throwing grenades and like just firing like the Barrett 50 cal across the map, just hoping to dome someone. There is like an element of desperation in it that I am kind of feeling right now. So maybe it's lining up. Maybe I'm getting ready for another desperation jump. Well, hey, for you guys watching, can you just give me some feedback? Is the audio fine? Like, is it coming through fine? Because I'm doing my like dual monitor system for the first time, and I don't want to. I think I will try it for Mr. Dershowitz, but I'm kind of hesitant at using it just because I've never used it before. But this is the first time I'm using like the dual monitor system. So if it's coming through fine, I just won't touch anything, and then I'll do this with Mr. Dershowitz. All right, so I mean, maybe I just fuck it. Let's go Hail Mary then. Why not? This isn't really a Hail Mary though. So I don't know what would be another Hail Mary. Thank you, Brian. Barking Digits and Parallels. Beautiful. All right. So then I'll use this. And then actually I'm going to use you guys as a focus group right now. What up, Drew Bob? I'm going to use you guys as a focus group right now. I'm going to change the camera, and I want y'all to tell me if the camera is this camera coming through good? Because this is why I got the new monitor, because now I can look at the guests like this, and it looks like I'm looking you in the eye instead of the weird thing where I'm looking off to the side. Can y'all? I know there's a delay, so you're probably not seeing it right now. But is this camera working fine? Is it coming through fine? Is the audio good? Are we all Gucci? That's what I need to know. So I'm gonna flip it back now to this one. If y'all could let me know, I know there's a delay, so it probably hasn't reached you guys yet. Did that camera look good? Did it? Because if that's good, then we're good. I'm not gonna touch anything, and I'm just gonna we're gonna use this for Mr. Dershowitz. My glasses are obviously crooked this way. Yeah, no, my glasses they are crooked. That's the thing. They're just fucked up. So, a little dark, but positioning is awesome. Yeah, I might move some of those lights up to here. All right, well then, I'm good with that. That's the whole point of it, is to look the guest. If I could raise it up a little bit, but it's on a... That's why I got this, like a stand, but it doesn't even work, so it's just on a stool now. I bought like $100 stand and a $700 monitor, and then neither of them ended up working in that spot, so I just put my old monitor there. The mic is basically covering your face this way. Well, this way, yeah. Through this camera, right? Not the good one. Yeah, this is not the good angle. I have that camera set up facing the back wall, so you just get the flag and some of the I say let it ride. We will let it ride. I said I was gonna wrap it up at quarter of, but I think we can go for an extra 5 minutes. Because I guess if the camera's working. Yeah, so I only have Mr. Dershowitz for 20 minutes. In his new book, Get Trump. Yeah, man. Yeah, as always, when I have a big guest on, as the minutes start ticking down, I start to freak out a little bit. Like, I never really think about it until it's happening. I just blot it out. I just go, it's not happening. And, like, as the minutes tick down to, like, Charlie Duke or General Spaulding or, like, Roseanne Barr and Dr. Malone, as the minutes tick, or Mike Durant and, like, Dr. McCullough together, as the minutes tick down, I start to go, oh, fuck. So that's kind of where I am right now, is it's starting to settle in that I'm having on Alan Dershowitz in 15 minutes. Yeah, I'm a little... That's a little scary. That man is a living legend. I'm not sure if I'm prepared for this. Whatever. Is what it is, man. So, again, for anybody just joining us, this is the weekly live chat live stream, where I just interact with anybody in the live chat. It's going to be Mondays at 2 p.m. Eastern, and normally should go for 2 hours. This week, how many times have I had a terrible interview? I don't know. I've only had on like two guests that I it's a good point, Parallels. I'm never prepared. I've only had on like 2 guests that I didn't like. They're obviously trying to sell things, and they're kind of talking down to me. They'll remain anonymous. Like, before the show even started, they're just kind of looking at me. So those I would say were terrible. I've had terrible in that the person, you could tell, almost like didn't want to do the interview. They'll just, thank you, Drew Bob, I appreciate that. I've had on people that you could tell like didn't want to be interviewed. They're clammed up. And it was kind of frustrating. I was like, well, then why are you on the show? Like, why did you say yes? Those are frustrating. People that are playing on their phone, that's always kind of a smack in the face. You're like, dude, then why the fuck are we doing this? I've never really had a terrible one, though. Yeah, again, I've had two people that were talking down to me, like, before the show and after the show and during the show, and were clearly trying to sell things. And were playing on their phones. And just, you could tell it was just like, I was just a fucking asswipe to them. And then I've had on a guest that was kind of like harassing a former guest. And I was like, dude, you can't do that. Like, you can say whatever you want. I'm a free speech absolutist, but I was like, you can't do that on my show. But even that wasn't bad. That was just kind of like that was a one-off. He's not a bad dude. He didn't know. I had on one guy who kept dropping like hard R's. And I kept pausing it, and I was like, and this is only like, I don't remember. This was within the first year. And I was like, dude, like you can't do that. I was like, please stop. And he's like, oh, don't be a pussy. And I was like, but I mean, that guy's, I don't know, he's a nice guy, and he did stop, and he has been on since then. So that's, yeah, I've never had a terrible one. General Spaulding's difficult to interview, but he's also a general. I don't think that's him stonewalling me. I think he's just a sphinx to everyone because he's a general. Yeah, I really don't know. Yeah, I know. Barking Digits, I'm watching it. I had on one guy that I'm pretty sure was like admitting to a crime on the podcast. But luckily for him, our connection kept breaking up, so I just ended up not uploading it just because the connection was fucked up. But I did email him after. I was like, you might not want to say that. Because I don't know what it is, and I'm not going to repeat it. But I'm pretty sure it was a crime. And it had only been like a couple months. That's a good point, Parallels. That is a solid point. But I think worry's probably good. I think it's good to never go into it and be like, whatever, dude, I'm the fucking boss. I think it's good to go into it always on edge. But it is 4:49. It's going to be 4:50. So we're going to wrap this one up. Again, the live stream live chats will be Mondays at 2 p.m. Eastern. And I'll blot off 2 hours for them. Last week I fucked up. This week I fucked up. We need a new Tommy story. What do you mean a new Tommy story? Not the fat Irish pig on a shitty putt. Not the fat Irish pig. Yeah, maybe I know you're right. I probably should speak more kind to myself. Pinball Wizard. That game? What are you talking about? Yeah. Well, guys, let's wrap this one up. Ollie Loving. You did. It's not your fault, Ollie Loving. I said I was going to do it at 2 p.m. and I showed up at 4:15. I said I was going to be on for 2 hours and I was on for 30 minutes. It's not your fault, Ollie Loving. That's my fault. Next week, we will try to get back on it. Alan Dershowitz in 10 minutes. Tune in for that. That's going to be a short podcast. And then video game stream should be 7 p.m. So in like 2 hours. And that'll be fun. So guys who did show up for this, thank you. I know I'm late, and but we do got to wrap this one up because I'm going to run out of time. So thank you so much, guys. We'll be back next week, hopefully on time. And if I have time this week, maybe we'll throw in another live stream, live chat. Thresher is a patriot. He's a cool guy, and he's coming on in 9 minutes. So, guys, we're gonna wrap this one up. Thank you so much, and yeah, I guess tune in 9 minutes. All right, guys, thank you so much. How do I don't even know how to shut this thing off on multiple streams. I think we got there to there to